Hey everyone, Mark here from Digital Groove Online and welcome back to this week's video. And this week we're going to look at a dark disco style track. I've had one of my students come to me and wanting to really make this style of music, and he gave me the reference track that is a remix by Damon Jee. And we sat down and penned down a few ideas and sort of got it cooking pretty quickly. And I think we've done a good job of it. So if you stick around long enough, you're going to understand how the track's been broken down, and we will end up with something like this. Really nice dark driving sort of progressive dark disco style track, and as I say, we tried to reference this style above us. I'm not going to play too much of it, but just to give you an idea of where the inspiration came from, it was this track here. So I'll play a couple of seconds of it for you. So a really nice dark disco driving style track there, and I think we sort of done a good job. And it all comes down to sample selection and listening closely to that style of music and trying to piece something together using similar sounds. I've used almost the arrangement of this track above to give us that sort of story throughout the mix itself. And like every breakdown tutorial that I've done, I'm going to take you through each track individually. Now, it looks like there's only a couple of tracks there, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But in fact, they're actually grouped channels, so there's maybe a couple of sounds within each one, and they're broken down into categories like beat, bass, percussion, vocals, atmospheres, and things like that. So I think in total there's maybe 38 tracks, 40 tracks thereabouts, and we'll break down each individual one just to show you how that sound selection sort of comes together. So if I start off with the kick drum, I'm just going to solo that for you, and it is a pretty chunky kick drum. If I just zoom in a little bit there, it's halfway across, what will allow space for the bass line in between each kick drum, so it's not really long. Just gives the bass a little bit of breathing space in between. And as you can see, it says drum clone there. Now if you haven't checked out drum clone, I have an earlier video where I explain how to use that particular plugin, and it allows you to analyze your favorite artist tracks and sort of sample those kick drums within those tracks. So I'm not quite sure where we got this kick drum from, but we did remove that from a track using drum clone. And as I say, I have a video, just probably the last one that I've put up if you want to have a look at that, or maybe the one just before that, and that will show you how to extract your favorite kick drums easily using this plugin. And it's in beta mode at the minute, so it's free, so go and check it out. So looking at the bottom, I've got some EQ on that. This is by Waves, and it analyzes, it has a little bit of AI built into it, so you can hit learn over here and it will give you a couple of EQ curves that you can focus on and listen to. So if I hit play from here and flick between these, they're all slightly different, but you may need a decent set of headphones or monitors to hear that. So I've went with this one in the middle here, and it is in dynamic or static mode. Dynamic just means that these frequencies are responding in real time and ducking out of the road, and static is a more natural EQ that you're used to within any of your Ableton. Has EQ8, for example. It's just that curve, and it will stay that way. But dynamic makes some of those frequencies move as they're being triggered. So I'll just move this out of the way, and then we have a Pro Q just in front of that, ducking a little bit of those highs out as well. So see in here there's a little bit of a punch. I've just ducked that down a little bit. And after that we've got our filters here, and they're just used for automation purposes throughout the mix rather than actual sound design itself. So when we settled on the kick drum, the next thing to do was to move across to the percussion. Now I'm going to let you hear the percussion as a group, and then we'll show you what individual sounds made that up. So we kept it quite simple, like the original track above. There wasn't huge top loops in it, but it is nice and just sits quite nice in the mix. And if you can identify those individual frequencies in there, you can hear an offbeat hat, sort of a running shaker as well. So they're stacked up underneath. And just again, we've applied the EQ with waves, curves, and waves also have another one called intelligent dynamics, which is just a compressor, an intelligent compressor, which allows you to gel that sound together nice and easy with 1 or 2 knobs. So let's just turn the first one on, just the top hat itself, and on the actual processing itself at the bottom, I think a lot of these are blank. No, this one here isn't, and this one here isn't. So just the first one, let's see, just the first one, yeah, doesn't have anything on it. So let's have a listen to that. Okay, just as it is, no processing on it at all, and it's sort of like an open hat, but it's quite high, like a sort of a ride cymbal, I suppose, but the decay has been taken right off it, so it's nice and short and snappy as well. After that, we've added a shaker, and as you can see, I've curved out lots of the high frequencies there, so I'll turn it on and I'll turn it off again just to let you hear how much of those frequencies that we've removed. But this is what we ended up with: a nice, subtle, light running shaker. And we've applied some LFO after that, LFO tool, which just gives it that little ducking effect like a sidechain compressor would, only we've used this here. It's sort of similar to Kickstart as well, if you have that, or Shaper Box. So the next thing after that then was, sorry, I'll let you hear it with it off. So you can hear there's a lot more frequencies involved there. Taken some of those high frequencies off, very high frequencies, and also carved a lot of those lower frequencies out as well. The next thing here is more of a harsher running hat again, and I haven't applied much processing to it apart from this EQ here, Pro Q, where I've scooped out lots of the low end and just ducked some of the very high, the high mids and high frequencies there out of the way. And again, the auto filter here is just for automation purposes throughout the mix. The last of the percussion, we do have a clap group further down here as well, which we'll go through in a second, which adds to that groove as well. I'm actually going to bring that up one and play them all together in a second. Let's see, I put it into the group by mistake. I'll just take it outside that group. There we go. And there's the next one, which is just an offbeat hat again. Only this time we've applied a little reverb on the send channels. And we've scooped off some of the extreme highs there as well. So playing them all together. And that is that percussion group. So let's have a look at I call it the Jean snare, which is that Billie Jean vibe. And if I hit solo and hear both of them together, again we've just applied the curves EQ and the intelligent dynamics compressor just to gel the two of those together. When I hit play, you can hear both of them together. Has that Michael Jackson Billie Jean vibe. If I turn them off one at a time, you'll see that both of them sort of complement each other. The clap underneath it just brightens it up a little bit, so if I turn off it, you see. Gives it that little splash with a bit of reverb on it. So I'll just solo that one on its own. We'll go back to the start. As you can see, I've just applied an EQ8 there and carved out a lot of the low frequencies and shelved some of the highs there. And then on the bottom one, I have just added some reverb on the return channel and shaved off some of the extreme highs. Now you may be able to hear this with your headphones. Let's see. Yeah, you can hear that in the headphones. It lets a lot more of the high frequencies through. Just takes a little bit of the edge off it there. So if I just solo that together then and apply the percussion. And then we'll just drop the kick drum this time round. And that's all the percussion. I haven't really added anything else to that. So let's just fold those down and we will then move on to the bass. Now the bass is just samples from Splice, but we've taken them and we have pitch shifted them to give us a little bit of movement within the track, because I think the original samples, they were just straight on the one note, which is a D minor, I think, yeah, D. And another interesting thing that you'll notice is that it behaves like some sort of call and response. So we have a bass layer playing, and then as that stops, another layer plays and just sort of gives it a call and response feel back and forwards too. So I'll play them all in all together and we'll talk you through the mix and the processing on that as well, and where we done those actual pitch changes, what you can see here, and maybe one there as well. So let's have a listen. So what we done with that as well is this was more of a full bass file here at the top, and we've taken some of the first notes out. So we've removed these completely and consolidated the audio file again as well, and we've just let those play in between the sub notes at the bottom. So the two layers, one's a sub and the other one's sort of a higher frequencies there too. So if we look at this, double click inside it, we can see that the pitch is set to 0. And when we wanted to make those changes, we just made slices within the audio and pitched it so it moves from this yeah, and then the last one at the end should pitch down as well. Maybe it was already like that on the actual audio file itself. So let me just move over here to the actual processing chain itself. Sorry, I should add on the actual group channels itself, we have, again, I use this quite a lot because I've only got these plugins and I just wanted to find out, you know, what they're like, and I'm still sort of learning a lot about them as I go along. This Curves AQ is also great for, as you can see in here, the mix sense button is grayed out, but what you can do is pull another sound in like you would do a side chain at the bottom here. And what that'll do is look for the frequencies in what you've picked as a side chain and act a little bit like soothe and duck those frequencies out of the way, or track spacer, which is really, really handy as well. So we're still learning a bit more about this. So as this is sort of higher frequencies, I've scooped out some of the lows. I've added a little bit of reverb and some overdrive here, which is a distortion unit. And then as the distortion, we'll add some of those bass frequencies back in. We've just run another EQ at the very, very end. So if I actually group those together and play that for you and turn them on and off, you'll hear the difference it's making. Loads of bass. Didn't want that to be too heavy because we have sub frequencies below here. And as you can see, I've shaved off some of the higher sounds there because this is the sub bass of the actual track. So we'll just turn that off. It's more clicky. There's more higher frequencies in it, but I wanted it to be deep and dark. So let's play the bass along with the kick drum itself, and we'll introduce the other elements we've brought in so far. bring in the snares. Okay, so we're down as far as the bass now, and we're going to move on to the vocals next. The vocals itself are just out of splice, and I found like a male vocal singing and a female vocal singing, and I've just placed them throughout the track. I've put little snippets of the vocal with this little line that you can see up here is being sent to a delay unit in the, over here. What's that there? C. So that's been sent to this here. Actually, it's been sent to the black hole, which is a long reverb unit, a huge reverb unit. It should also be getting sent over time to the delay as well, where we get the tail of that. So let's have a listen.
Now give it to me.
Look at the tail of the reverb on that. We also have, let me see, yes, there's automation on the delay on this one, so let's click it. We can see it here, so let's have a listen there. Which is quite cool as well. And we've also got it on this, but probably further down the mix, is it? No, it's not being used at all there. Okay, so the different types of vocals we'll go through. On the actual main group itself, again, we've used the curved stereo EQ and the intelligent dynamics. And on each track itself, I haven't added any EQ or compression. I've just put it into the mix as it is. So I hit solo on this first one.
Give it to me.
That's all that one's saying.
Now give it to me.
The second one is the fuller vocal, and it should have, you should have like a female singing part of it, and then a male singing a different part of it. So let's have a listen. And then we have here, where is it here? There is definitely a male vocal in here as well, so let's have a look. Ah, there's it down here. And then halfway across, I introduced the female vocal again. These ones here are just sort of reverse samples into the main vocal. So let's sort of those two together. You can hear that sort of like reverse effect coming into it. This one here, let's just hit solo on that. This one does actually have processing on it, so I have put a delay on it. The dry and wet set to 30%, but lots of feedback on it, and then filtered the actual frequencies on the audio file itself and just made it sound a little bit darker with a delay on it. And then lastly, we have another reverse here. This time we've done the reverse because the male vocal is going to do that. New York, feel the heat. Berlin. Okay, so let's see if we can maybe take this section here and play all the vocals together. New York. Maybe just take that little snippet just before as well.
Now give it to me. New York, feel the heat. Berlin, move your feet.
And then we'll start introducing some of the other sounds. Kick drum. Let's bring the snares in. And then the percussion. Okay, and we'll just turn that off as well. The next thing that we put in was an atmospheric texture that just runs whole way through the track, and there should be some sort of automation on this. Let's have a look and see. Yeah, we've got an auto filter on that, which starts quite low at the start, opens up over time, filters down and builds back up again. And we've got two sounds in here. Both look like they're being side chained with an LFO tool. Let's just check the second one. Yep. The first one has a lot of those frequencies scooped out from the low end, some of the high, and a huge reverb on it. One's panned slightly left and the other one's slightly right. So let's have a listen to the first one here. So if you're listening on headphones, you will hear that one is slightly panned more. And it opens up over time. You can hear that in the background. There's it opening up to its highest part. Just take the shimmer off it. Just a little bit more haunting with the shimmer. And let's have a listen to the one below as well. Go back to the start, you'll hear it's filtered more because of the automation line. And if I just hit solo and listen to the two of them together. And we'll turn one on and off at a time. You hear that both of them complement each other quite well. So, with that atmosphere in now, we'll turn it off. Being fed through the return channels there, which is why we can still hear that. I would need to mute those as well because there's lots of reverb on it as well. So we're almost there. We're down to the effects now at the bottom here, and the effects are just quite simple. They're one shots taken from Splice. We'll go through each one of those individually and have a listen to it. So here is just a oh, hold on 2 seconds. Am I missing something at the top? I am. Here's it here. Just a clap. And we'll let you hear these in context at the time of the track playing as well. So let's have a listen to this one. It's a thud of a drum, but I'm aware that it layers over the top of the kick drum, so I don't want it to be too subby. But you can actually hear the next one across here is this one. And that is just the sound off Splice and pitched down and consolidated again just to correctly fit the track. So let's have a listen. The next thing across here is a sweep. And we have that little drum effect playing off it again. And with everything playing together, there's that noise again. And this one's quite interesting. Just a little reverse sweep. There is, let me see where it is here. Yeah, I think it's further down here. Yeah, it's like a little siren that sounds really, really cool with everything else. So let's have a listen.
Now give it
All these little one shots add a little bit of variation throughout the track. They're not playing every couple of bars, as you can see. We're not playing it again for maybe another minute or so, and then the next one again is 2.5, 3, nearly 2 minutes further down. So they're sporadically through and throughout the track, not repetitive and repeated every so many bars. And the next one here is just a build of a snare drum. And the last of those effects is this one here. So see if you can listen out for that in the mix here. Very subtle, but very impactful as well. So there's quite a few effects in there. Let me see how many we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tracks there, are all effects. But I mean, as you can see, looking through the track, most new producers sort of rinse and repeat the same repetitive pattern right the way across the track, which means the track can become a little bit stale. If you just sporadically use them in the right moments within the track, it keeps the listener interested. Some you will use every so many bars, but some will just be a bit more sporadic as well. So let me just fold that one down. And this one was my favourite. I've actually frozen them, so I'll not go into the actual sound design of it. But you can see that there's EQ, overdrive, LFO tools in there on both the strums, LFO tool, EQ again. They're just serum presets, actually. I didn't design them from scratch. I just found like sort of like strummed bass guitar, almost an electric guitar sounds, and mixed them together. And on that bus again, I have used the stereo curves and the intelligent dynamics, but in this instance I've put a little bit of overdrive in there as well. You can still see the MIDI that I've used, and you can see there's a little bit of swing on it as well, just to give a bit of groove and some velocity as well in there, so that you hear that there's a bit of movement happening within the track there. And this just brought a little bit more energy to the track too. So I'm just going to solo the top one for you, the strum bass here, and then bass drum 2 I'll let you hear after. And then we have strum bass 2 below there, which plays the same notation. I think there is a slight different change in the key that it's playing in the top one, and the bottom one's a little bit more static. It's a bit more electronic, that one. So I'm going to play the two of them together. You can hear the top layer is just doing those little subtle changes, while the bottom layer is just keeping the same note. And we'll play that with the kick drum and the bass, so you can hear them all together. Really works well together. So I'm just going to take the loop marker off here and play everything all together. So let's hear it all one more time. Just to let you hear a little bit of that intro as well. So there we have it. That is that track breakdown. It's a dark disco style track, and it was referenced against the Damon Jee track, which is on Beatport as well. If you want to have a listen to the full track, the name is just up here. I'm delighted to say that this student has just signed his first record deal off the back of this. This actual track has been signed and will be coming out soon, and I'm delighted, and so is he, and he's already working on his follow-up single to that as well. Lastly, if you've stayed this long, thank you very much, and also subscribe if you like the channel, and interact in the comments. Let me know what you'd like to see of a track breakdown next. I have some over the last few weeks that want to see some more longer, in-depth start to finish tracks, and I will get round to that, particularly whenever I free up a little bit more time. And very lastly, if you would like help with your music production, help to take it to the next level, you can check me out at digitalgrooveonline.com, and I would be happy to talk to you. So until next week, see you again.